Nothing is the most abstract thing according to these 10 chatbots. But nowhere should be more abstract, right? Isn't it like I came out of nowhere, the middle of nowhere. Like nowhere is like a place, I guess. It's kind of like a noun slash pronoun thing. So maybe they're not super fair to include. Maybe infinity is the most abstract thing. Fair enough. But infinity is more abstract than like, where is it? This cardinal. Oh, it's because it's because ChatGPT regular did not know what a Reinhardt cardinal was. So after I made the original list of 150 words, I was like, there's a lot more words that I could be adding, but I'm like limited by the space of the Google slide like thing, right? I could definitely just make a gigantic like canvas, I guess. But honestly, I kind of didn't want to spend the time to like rank them myself. And also like, if I only rank them myself, it's just kind of, I guess, biased and it's all like about how I think about it. And like, I'm wondering like what the general public would probably think about these words, but I can't really do a study where I like, ask my friends and everyone like to rank all these words because there's just so many. They probably find it boring. But you know who doesn't find it boring? ChatGPT and the other LLMs that are online. So I asked a bunch of chatbots, 10 of them, how they would score these words from concrete to abstract. The way it works is that I asked them to give a decimal score between -1 and 1 for each noun. -1 means that it's like totally, definitely an abstract noun. You can't possibly debate or argue that it's not an abstract noun. So that's what the -1 means. 1's the opposite, right? So it's definitely concrete. It's like, without a doubt, a concrete noun. And 0 is like, well, it's arguable, and like, or I guess in the case here, it's like the machine learning model thinks it's equally abstract or concrete, or like it doesn't know. That's what 0 would be. And of course, usually you would give some 3-digit decimal between them, but for some reason they never give a third digit. They always give 2 digits for some reason. Even though I ask them to give 3 digits every single time. As you can see, I'll pull up my Claude history right now, and I asked it here like, okay, so up here I asked Gold Rush, for example, right? And it just always gives something like, yeah, it's like, this is a 1 digit. It's 1 sig fig. Okay, this is a 2 sig fig right here. This is 0.95 for myriad. But it never gives like a third digit. I think over all the LLMs, they never give a third sig fig. So they're kind of wary on being too precise. And so it's kind of good that I'm taking a mean of 10 because that helps it become, like differentiated, right? I don't have too many that are exactly 0.95, but they're like off by a little bit because sometimes they differ, of course. So let's look at the data right now. So this is the main data I collected, right? So from here to here, all the way down, there's 750 rows because they added more words. And then here, the stuff on the right, this is like, the summary, right? So the minimum of each word, -0.35 here means that the lowest possible score that one of these chatbots gave for Abyss is -0.35. And apparently it was Muse Spark, which is Meta.ai. It's like the new Facebook. Well, it's like the Meta AI, basically. It's not long anymore. And the maximum over here is 0.9 given by DeepSeek Expert. And then here's the range, standard deviation, mean, median. And I'm mostly going to look at the mean for understanding like the overall, how it's voted. I will say the fact that DeepSeek Expert gave 0.9 for Abyss is very unsurprising. It always gives a very high score for some reason. Not sure why, but I think in the beginning it just kind of got unlucky and maybe gave too many high scores, like 1s for a lot of things. They were given in roughly in alphabetical order, by the way. Some were added later, so it's kind of slightly off. But Abyss was the first word I think all these got. Anyway, Abyss is a good first word. I feel like Abyss, like if I personally would have to like rank it, I would say it is referring to like a physical thing, a physical region, or a place. So that's concrete, but it's usually used like a metaphor. But just because it's used in a metaphor a lot doesn't mean it's like necessarily a figurative word. You know what? I agree with these LLMs. It's probably like mostly like 0.5. Like if we're gonna be practical about it, it is often used like to talk about like the attributes of a physical abyss. So the abyss itself is like the the abyssness of a physical abyss, if that makes sense. I would say it's still generally concrete, but it's not that concrete. So the mean is 0.35. If I go sort all of these by the mean in this copy I have here, we can see what is the most and least concrete and abstract according to 10 LLMs voting. So I'll just start at the bottom, okay, because it's more simple. So the first thing is apple and brick. These should definitely be concrete. This is like a baseline, it's like a whatever you want to call it, like a, just base case. And then chess set, I actually wanted chess set to be a bit higher. I was thinking like they're gonna analyze it as like not one connected component object. It's a collection of things, kind of. It's not really like a stamp collection. I didn't include stamp collection in this list. I kind of should have. Like this isn't exactly a stamp collection, but it's kind of got that feeling where it's like it's not one continuous object. So it's kind of conceptual. Like if I replace one of my chess pieces with a Lego, which I did in real life, by the way, because I lost my my black rook or something, and I was like I have to replace it with Lego so that it still works. And then, like, what if I replace all of my pieces with Legos over years of losing the pieces? And now it's like a new chess set completely made out of Legos. And then let's say that, like, I don't know, the whole board gets lost and you use just like a Monopoly board, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it still a chess set? Like, I guess it's kind of still a chess set, right? Like, it isn't necessarily, it's not about the physical pieces themselves. Or is it? I mean, a new chess set's gonna be about the pieces themselves. Like, ship of Theseus kind of thing here. I was hoping this was going to be more abstract, but I guess, they just made they just thought of it as a physical thing, which is fine, I guess. Flint and Steel is kind of the same thing. Cave is the first time that we have a hole-ish object. So I wonder where hole is, right? Not loophole, not ozone hole, hole. So hole is actually at like 0.7-ish. So that's interesting, but cave is not. Cave is very concrete according to these bots. So a cave, I guess like it's kind of referring to the walls of the cave, kind of like as a whole, like the wall, ceiling, floor of the cave and the inside. So it's more of a physical region than a lack of things, right? It's not like when you say a hole, like there's a hole in my sock. It's like there is a error in my sock. I don't really know, like you know what I'm saying? Like there's a fault, there's like a gap. That's not really like a region. That's not really a spatial region, whereas a cave is specifically referring to like a three-dimensional place. And so the placeness of it makes it more concrete, probably. Okay, and also I didn't know what BB 741 was, so I actually had to clarify. Originally, I actually told it what this thing is. This is like a busy beaver number. It's an output of a function, and it's supposed to be like an integer, and it is an integer, but no one can possibly ever know, and it's mathematically proven that no one can ever know what it is, like which integer is it, but it has to be an integer, and it's not like infinite or anything. It's like a really big finite integer, but you just can't ever know for sure that a particular finite integer is BB 745. So it's like sketchy. And I think it should be very abstract because numbers themselves are abstract already. Like 3 is an abstract thing, right? But like the only reason why it's so controversial is because ChatGPT doesn't know what it is, which is kind of funny. And also, flashlight? Yeah, Gemini flashlight doesn't know what it is. But Gemini Flash does, so that's interesting. Flashlight might, I'm not sure. Something about flashlight makes it not like as smart as Flash, I guess, which makes sense. Everything being 0 is crazy. Wait, what? Everything being 0? Huh? Gemini Flash thinks that everything overall is 0. I can actually pull it up right now. Let's see. So I guess it's thinking like, because it said both concrete and abstract, then it's like, okay, I guess we have all the stuff. So it's probably some balance between, so it's probably like 0, 0, 0. Does this imply that there's equally as many concrete things as abstract things? It's kind of funny. Empty set being -1 though, it's kind of if I sort them now, I can see there's a huge range in the middle where it's like stuff that's kind of debatable. And I kind of intended it to be like this. I mostly added more stuff that's in the middle later on. So all these additions here are mostly supposed to be things that are in the middle, right? I tried to make stuff in the middle as much as possible. I wanted to get the 0, 0, 0, 0, you know what I'm saying? So what is 0, 0, 0, 0? I actually don't know because I added some more stuff I didn't check. So this is actually my first time checking what's going to be right in the middle of this spectrum, right? So what is something that's exactly neither abstract or concrete? Well, let's look. We're getting close. 0. Okay. Force field is at 0. Okay, let's go. Wait, I actually am pretty glad about this. I think earlier on, there was a version that was like, what was it, behavior? I think behavior was originally the thing in the middle. But now it looks like behavior is up here and a bit more abstract. I added more LLMs. I added some more chatbots data. So now force field seems to be like the thing that is balancing out at 0. And is the unique thing that is exactly in between concrete and abstract. So what do I say? Okay, so force field is like a vector field, but it's of forces. And it's like, you can also think of it as like the region, you can think it's like referring to the region where the forces are. But if you really want to be mathematical about it, like isn't like the whole universe a force field then? Of like any particular source of a force. I think the main point here is that it's blurring the line of what is math and what is a physical thing when you're talking about like physics. We can think of it as the mathematical, abstract description that we're giving this thing, this force source. But like it's also like, it's like it's kind of a physical thing though. Like, I mean, it depends on how you want to think about it. I think Higgs field is over here. I put Higgs field. Like you would usually think of Higgs field as a physical, like, I like imagine like a fabric or something, but like it's supposed to be like a physical thing. Actually, this one's on the abstract side. It's kind of interesting. Force field, maybe it's just confused. Higgs field, okay, either kind of like, same kind of gimmick here, but yeah. So, okay, I guess force field is the partitioning line. Very cool. And of course, there is some controversy over it, but it's not actually that big. So let's sort by controversy. What's the most controversial thing? If we sort by the standard deviation, we'll get like the more and less controversial ones. Okay, so the lowest standard deviation is on nothing. Apparently, they all just agree very, very like it's obvious to me that nothing is super, super abstract. It's obvious to my other 9 chatbot friends, All 10 chatbots just think that nothing is a very abstract thing. I'm inclined to say that nothing is kind of concrete. Like, this is crazy, but like, if you're gonna say that a whole is concrete, like, you might as well say that nothing is concrete, right? Like, a whole, it's like a missing space. We're definitely not talking about the air, so like, let's say like there's an object in space, right? Like in a vacuum, I have a straw in a vacuum, like a drinking straw, and there's a hole to the straw. Is that a physical thing? Is that concrete? I would say like, yeah, because if we're gonna say like all these words that are referring to concrete physical things are just descriptions or shapes or arrangements of like elementary particles, then the whole is kind of just like saying that there's a lack of stuff there. So it is itself a shape. I mean, everything else is just also a shape as well, if you want to think about it like that, in terms of shapes or arrangements of elementary particles. And then nothing, of course, is also the same thing. It's just like nothing. But I guess it's different because nothing doesn't have a location, right? Well, maybe there's nothing everywhere. Is there nothing here? Is there nothing there? Well, there seems to be like a nothing. Is there nothing right here? Is there nothing? I mean, if I put something here, this is a guitar capo. Is there still nothing where the guitar capo is? Like, if there is nothing and something, like, no, there's still nothing. There's infinitely many nothings everywhere, right? Like, come on, right? Like, okay, whatever, okay. So I think you can say that it's concrete. I wouldn't say -1 for this. But sure, I guess. Okay, fine. Nothing is -1. It's a pronoun, so I can't really be too bad about it. So okay, so I sorted by the, what did I sort by? This is not the standard deviation. This is the range. Okay, I'll actually sort by the standard deviation. Now it's gonna be tie broken by the range, which is also good. Okay, what's the lowest standard deviation? It's a brick, an apple, and nothing. Okay, so brick is actually the least standard deviation thing. Well, okay, good. Good. Brick should be the least standard deviation, like, ranked object. Okay, what's the most then? BB745 again, because Flashlight and Gemini did not... Flashlight and ChatGPT did not know what this was. Should have written out Busy Beaver number, but I wanted it to be able to fit in this thing, so I had to write it like that. Patent, okay. So this is one that they actually disagree about, because everyone knows what a patent is, but this is kind of one of the ones where it's like there's multiple definitions. Like, are we talking about the thing that you're patenting, or is it the agreement, the legal agreement? Is it the record somewhere? Or like, which thing is it? And if it's the record, is it the physical record or the abstract idea that's being recognized? Well, okay. I can see why it's so controversial then. Yeah. High standard deviation. Behavior, of course. Behavior. Are we talking about the mental or the physical? Well, like, what we're talking about here. Acre is also just a sketchy one, because like, are we talking about an acre? A particular acre? Well, no, come on. Even if it's a particular acre, it's still an abstract thing. It's not the stuff that's there. It's at the very best, it's like a place. It's like a position, right? It's like a region. That is not like an app. That's not that concrete. Come on, guys. Don't be saying 0.9 for this. The only okay, 0.95 is crazy from ChatGPT, by the way. And like, I'm not surprised for DeepSeek expert. DeepSeek expert, you know, if you just look at this column here, it's just very dark. It's very funny. But ChatGPT says stuff is in the middle a lot of the time. So I don't know if to deal with that, but yeah. In fact, I can show you like a graph of this. If I go here, and I have to probably run this thing again. If I run this, it's going to just kind of compare how different models look at it. So there are different distributions within each model for the words. How do those distributions compare to each other, right? Okay, let's see. Let's look at this first. So this is what I was talking about. These are curves that represent the box plot. So if you look over here, we have a box plot that's representing, you know, how often each kind of score is given by a particular chatbot. And this curve is kind of just a curve that smooths out the noise in the box heights next to each other. So overall, it seems like a lot of them are big humps on the left and right, except for, what is this? ChatGPT free. Okay, ChatGPT really likes to say stuff is like 0.2-ish. Okay, I actually kind of like this because, I mean, this is kind of what I was trying to achieve, right? So ChatGPT is like the only one that's like doing what I wanted it to do, kind of. But the rest of them are like, okay, they're kind of taking a stance, right? They're always trying to take a stance. They're trying to say this stuff is concrete or abstract. So they're usually putting stuff around like here. And so like that's kind of nice because at least they're making a decision. The reason why it kind of dips down at the end is probably just because I made it fixed so that it has to end at -1 or 1, right? I told them to go between -1 and 1, so they can't go over or under. So of course it has to dip down at the end. I don't think the curve making algorithm knows that there's a fixed boundary. Probably should have used something else, but you know, in general we can see the pattern here. Then there seems to be more like stuff that's kind of ish concrete than there's stuff that's kind of ish abstract. What is this purple one here? That is DeepSeek Instant. So DeepSeek Instant also has a bump here. It's almost as close to 0 as ChatGPT's bump here. So it seems to be easier for me to come up with nouns that are like kind of ish concrete than kind of ish abstract. Kind of abstract is kind of hard to do, right? How do you like come up with something that's like kind of abstract? I don't know. Anyway, so that's that. Violins, if you want to look at that, this is kind of a similar idea. And the box plots, of course, we have DeepSeek Expert having the biggest range. I think it's just because the DeepSeek Expert says a lot of 1. So it kind of drags this up. It just says 1 a lot of the time for a lot of stuff. So, don't know. It looks like Gemini Flash goes down. And some of these whiskers don't go all the way up. Because Haiku just doesn't like being very extreme, I guess. Even though it kind of is like controversial, it doesn't go down to -1. Yeah, so some of these bots are just never gonna really say 1 or -1. I guess it's because they're like expecting there to be crazy stuff later on. So it doesn't ever say, oh, this is the pinnacle of concreteness or abstractness. It doesn't do that. Okay, so these are the most high variance ones. Caustic Network was one of the earliest ones that were super like controversial. And I think some of them were getting confused. Some of them thought it was a different definition of caustic. Like, there's a chemical definition of this, but I really thought that caustic was like mainly referring to the thing in the water, right? I guess I do too much game design, so I think about this thing in the water too much. Okay. I googled caustic and it's all just chemistry stuff. So maybe that was a bad assumption of me to make. My bad. It's apparently a League of Legends character based on like the chemical definition, I guess, as well. What is that? Is this a League of Legends? No, it's Apex. I'm sorry. Wait, what Legends? Right? No, it's Apex Legends. Okay, sorry. Did not read it. Okay. But I'm talking about the thing in the water, the water caustics. I guess like I should have said caustics with an S, but I don't like putting S at the end of stuff. I don't know. Okay. So it's like this thing that you see at the bottom of pools, right? It's the pattern, but I guess it can also be the giraffe thing. No, wait, no, that's not the giraffe thing. No, this is specifically referring to the thing you see at the bottom of like water. And it has to do with how the waves on top of the water bend, right? So they bend in a certain way that the light the light happens to, gather up more on specific spots based on how the waves are curved and how those curves like relate to each other. And of course the seafloor, and I thought like, okay, so first of all, it is light, I guess. Like, is it the light or is it is it the like pattern? Or like, yeah, it's like, what is it? Maybe someday I'll make a video where it's like, I'm literally just gonna go through all 750 of them and then think about each one and rank them. I would probably want to do this in a way where it's like, I arrange them so that similar gimmicks are put next to each other. Like, for example, hole and dent should be close. Well, I would see like dent first in the alphabet. And then later when I see hole, I look back and be like, what did I do for dent? Oh, I put some number. Oh, I'll put like a little bit more than that number, I guess. I don't know. So maybe I'll do that at some point, maybe not. But this is pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and